In this video, we will be solving a factored trig equation. The equation that we'll be working with is the quantity tangent x minus root 3 multiplied by the quantity sine x plus 1 is equal to 0. Our domain is limited to the interval from 0 to 2 pi, including the 0 but not 2 pi. So we know that whenever we have two things multiplied together and their product is 0, then we can use the zero factor property to set each of these equal to 0. And that only happens if it's equal to 0 on this one side. So we can say that tangent x minus root 3 is equal to 0, and then we can say sine x plus 1 is equal to 0. Right, let's solve this left one first. Add root 3 to both sides. These will cancel, and I have tangent x is equal to a positive root 3. So we're looking for an angle which has a tangent of root 3 over 1. So we know that tangent is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. And we know that tangent is defined as opposite over adjacent. So my opposite side is radical 3, and my adjacent side is 1. Also on this triangle, the opposite side would be a negative radical 3, and the adjacent side would be a negative 1. So my angle in this special triangle is going to be a 60-degree angle, but since our domain is in radians, we need to use pi over 3 as a 60-degree angle. So x is equal to pi over 3, and then in quadrant 3, a reference angle of pi over 3 will give me an x value of 4 pi over 3. Since this top semicircle is pi radians, and then you add another pi over 3, that'll give us 4 pi over 3. Alright, now let's solve this one on the right. Subtract 1 from both sides. These will cancel, and I have sine x is equal to a negative 1. Now we know that x has to be a quadrantal angle in this case because sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and we'll never get a 1 with that ratio since the hypotenuse is always bigger for a triangle in one of the quadrants. We know that sine on our quadrantal angles is defined as y over r. So for the unit circle, r is 1, so my y value has to be a negative 1. The angle then that I'm going to have is right here, which is 3 pi over 2. Right, now, before you box in these answers, the thing that you need to be aware of is anytime you have a trig equation that has tangent or cotangent or any of the trig functions that are limited in their domain, you need to check your answer. Now we know that tangent of pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 is undefined. So if we put 3 pi over 2 into this equation, this part of the equation would be undefined because tangent of 3 pi over 2 is undefined. So I'm going to make that note. Tangent of 3 pi over 2 is undefined. Therefore, this answer is not acceptable. So my only values that I can use for x are pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3.